Attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
It's the world according to Woods. It's the world according to Woods. According to Woods. Good evening, Simi Valley.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Welcome to our season 2, episode 16 of WAW. And I literally flew in the house.
Yes, you did.
Flew in the house. I was
Yes, you
gone
did.
all
She
day
almost
long.
knocked me over.
I
Getting in here.
I had an amazing day. My kids actually took me out today for my extent. It's the birthday that keeps on giving. And I just got a text from Elena saying that I have another birthday gift on my porch from Carol.
Oh,
Just
wow,
more birthday
really?
gifts coming. But I had a
Wow.
really special day today. My kids took me to the Waldorf Astoria for lunch. It was the best. It was the best day. But not only did we do lunch at this beautiful restaurant that had this view, but then they took me to this very special store
Uh-oh.
and got me
Uh-oh.
no, not a bag, but they got me perfume from Louis Vuitton with my, I don't know if you can see it, with my initials on the perfume, BKW.
Hi, Joanne.
Louis
Hey,
Vuitton.
Henry. Hi, Kim. Hey, Gary.
So anyway,
Hi, Manny.
I love
Claire,
the bag.
Donna.
Thank you to the best kids I have in the world. I just love them so much. So
Yes.
we had a very special day having lunch overlooking Beverly Hills and then got to go to Louis Vuitton.
Yeah, and to show you how much she thinks about me, there was no to-go order from the restaurant for lunch.
Well, you wouldn't have liked what we had because we had
You wouldn't
we
have
had-
liked what I had, I'll tell you.
we had Oddity. What did you have?
Wait, there's Scott. Hey, Scott.
Hi, Manny. Hi,
Hi,
Rick. Hi, Joanne.
Hi, Manny.
All you guys.
Thanks for
Thank you
joining
so
us,
much,
guys.
Donna, Claire, Gary,
Yeah, this
Kim,
is-
Henry. You guys, thank you for joining us tonight.
This is going to be
On
a fun one, guys.
Thursday night. So this is our new night and time. And if you didn't catch why last week, he is going to be doing a residency at the Welk Resort in Temecula.
It's actually Escondido.
Yeah, with the long
The
run
Lawrence
on
Welk,
Wednesday nights. So WW will be on Thursday nights from now on.
Yeah, for at least a few months.
Yeah.
So it's Woot and Tootin' Thursdays,
Yeah.
right? Is that what it is?
So welcome everybody.
Yes.
We're happy to
Welcome
see all
to
you guys.
WAW, where
Important topics of the day are largely ignored.
and foolishness reigns supreme.
Yep.
And we're here to ask the eternal question.
What's happening?
What's happening?
Hey, Scott. Hey, Will.
Hey, Will. Thanks
Good
for
to see
joining
everybody.
us.
Good to see everybody. We have our good friend Switch, better known to everybody. Well, no. I guess he is known to everybody as Switch. Chris
Yes.
Sobkowich.
We've got the inimitable Swiggy Stardust.
Oh
as
my
we like
gosh!
to call him.
And do we have fun with this guy? We have
Oh
been
man.
to Kings games because Switch is a big Canada. Well, he likes the
Well,
Winnipeg Jets.
Winnipeg Jets
Yes,
is
he
his
likes,
team.
and I love my LA Kings. So we love
Yeah.
going to Kings games with Switch and
Yeah,
you know
and Donna.
bantering
Love
back and
Donna.
forth about how our team is the better team. And it's in Fallbrook. So it's in Fallbrook. So
What
the
is?
Welk Resort. The Welk
Oh,
Resort is
Fallbrook.
in Fallbrook.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
All right.
Yeah, I stand corrected.
All right.
Yeah, that's going to start on June 1st. We're going to be playing every Wednesday night for 3 months. So if you're in the area down there, please come out and join us for a Wednesday night. We're doing Unplugged, TLR Unplugged.
Yep.
So it's the all acoustic version, and it's a beautiful theater. I think it seats about 300 people.
It's
and,
really pretty. And it actually, the lobby shows all the history of Lawrence Welk.
Yeah, that's
very,
right.
very beautiful.
Yeah, we've done it in the past a few times, and it's just really a lot of fun.
So do we have a Father's Day show that we need to talk about?
Well, first we need to talk about this Sunday.
All right.
Deja Vu, Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young tribute is playing at the Coffee Gallery on Sunday afternoon at 2 p.m. Now, technically, it's sold out. They've got a waiting list happening. So if you want to get on the waiting list, sometimes people can't make it on the day of the show, and they will call you and say, hey, you're able to get in. So I would recommend, if you'd like to go to that, call the Coffee Gallery backstage and tell Beverly that you would like to get on the waiting list for Sunday afternoon.
Yep.
Thank you to everybody who made reservations for the show.
Yep.
We're looking forward to doing it again.
All right.
And
I didn't have a slide for that one, but we do have a slide for this one.
We've got a great Father's Day show coming up. You want to show that one? Yeah. So that's on June 19th. It's on a Sunday evening. We're starting off with the acoustic Deja Vu set. That starts, I believe, at 7 p.m. And then at 8 o'clock, we're doing all of your James Taylor, Carole King favorites.
And we didn't
say where it's at.
Sorry.
That's at the Canyon Club in Agora, California, the Canyon Club.
Canyon Club on Father's Day. So
Yep.
take your dad to an amazing Father's Day show. What a great, it's already a pre-done thing. You take him for dinner and music. And it's probably, well, I don't know. In these days, it's probably his era, because we keep on talking about how old you are and what era you are in.
Can we go to a station break, guys? I'm going to need to take her out back and
Just saying.
teach her a lesson.
But speaking of Carla, speaking of this beautiful lady, Carla Buffa, who does an amazing Carole King, she also is a very, very talented jewelry maker.
Yes,
She made me the most beautiful pair of earrings, and this is just a sliver of what she does. She has the most amazing jewelry. She does them all by hand. It's called Silver and Stone. Please excuse my nails. I pulled them off, and I'm not putting them back on till my nails heal. So Silver and Stone, these are a pair of earrings that she made for me, and I absolutely love them. Love them. So Silver and Stone, people, by Carla. You can find her on Facebook. She does handmade creations, just absolutely stunning. Everything I've ever gotten from her, I have loved beyond belief. These were actually a birthday present that she made for me, but I'm in love with them, and I cannot wait. I cannot wait to wear them. They're beautiful in every way.
You should have worn them for the show.
Well,
they didn't match.
Yeah, it didn't match my shirt, but I have a shirt that's going to match them. So Silver and Stone by Carla. Hello, Larry. Greetings from Wisconsin. Hello,
you
Dan.
sounded like Seinfeld there. Hello,
yes,
Larry.
and Lois.
Like you were greeting Newman or something.
Teresa Luster.
Hi,
hello.
Teresa.
Hello, you guys.
Hey, Larry. Hey, Dan.
All right,
Hi,
so
Lois. Lois is going to be there on
Ooh,
Sunday.
I can't wait to see you, Lois. You're always a breath of fresh air. So, what else? What else do you got on the horizon?
Dan, wait.
What?
Go back.
What?
Dan's from Wisconsin. Dan, I don't know if you know this.
Dan.
But Led Zeppelin
Yes.
is playing at Willie Beeman's in Wisconsin on
Is that
June
near you?
4th. June 4th, Willie Beeman's.
Okay. All right.
June
See you
4th.
Sunday. Nancy's going to be there Sunday
Yeah,
too.
Nancy.
Yay.
Thank you, Nancy. We appreciate that.
We always love Nancy.
So let's see. Oh, no, we wanted to mention our sponsor once again.
Yep.
We've got the greatest mechanic on the planet available and ready to do your
Oil change or
repair.
transmission repair. And we are actually
running
going
a
to be
little behind
seeing.
tonight, guys.
We're going to be seeing Calvin on Tuesday. We're going out
Yes, we
to
are.
dinner with Calvin
Mhm,
and Tuesday.
Yeah, that's
Not
right.
Tuesday.
Tu-
Tuesday.
Tuesday on Tuesday.
Tuesday on Tuesday.
That's right. That's right.
We're going to be having dinner with them because we're celebrating all of our birthdays. Because Tuesday had a birthday.
That's right.
You had a birthday. I had a birthday. Calvin is just coming because we love
He's
Calvin.
reaping the benefits of it all.
We love Calvin.
No, but if you have any automobile issues that need to be resolved, Calvin is your man.
Yeah, he is. And if you mention WAW, you get a whopping 10% off of whatever service you get. So mention WAW. And I have to tell you that every time we go see Calvin, we always forget to mention
That's
WAW.
right. Yeah, we do.
Why do we
I
do
could have
that?
probably taken you to lunch on what we would have saved on that.
Do that. We need to
Uh,
start mentioning WW. So if you go to Calvin's Auto Repair at 501 East Glen Oaks Boulevard in Glendale, California, 818-240-2727, mention WAW and you will get 10% off of whatever service you get.
yes.
And we've actually sent a lot of people to them and they're very happy, including my sister.
Yes, absolutely.
So we have also my tumblers, the Blondie collection. I have quite a few in the queue right now that I'm making. I'm so grateful again for all of your orders. Thank you so much. It is the Blondie collection at it's www.theblondiecollection.com. Send me a text. You can actually order through my Facebook page. You can send me a text, or you can actually go online and order through my website. So however you want to get the message to me, I will get it and I will start making it. And I love making it. And I love doing this for you because it's like arts and crafts every single day.
Yeah.
When you sit back like that, it makes you look like you're smaller than me. So you need to,
Smaller?
yeah. Sit back.
Okay, so now our guest tonight, Switch has been playing in the long run.
Hello, Elena
TLR.
Montgomery. So Elena just texted me and said that she
Oh.
has another birthday present on
Oh,
my
man.
porch. She sent me, I have to
Oh,
say, by the way,
wow.
she sent me the most beautiful, and I wish I had it with me, but it's downstairs. The most beautiful picture of my mom.
Yes.
It's a canvas. The
Yeah.
most beautiful picture of my mom with myself, my brother,
Your sister
my sister,
and your mom when
and
she
my
was
mom
young. and
when she was young,
older.
when she was old. So I mean, it made me tear up, and I love it so much. So thank you, Elena, so much. It just meant the world to me. Too many rules. What do you mean, Scott? Too many rules for what? Because Jim's enforcing too many rules? Maybe.
I don't enforce any
Welcome
rules.
to my life,
It's
people.
more like the other way around.
No, I
Yeah.
am easy peasy.
Okay, so speaking of breaking all the rules, Switch and I have been playing in TLR together for probably about 12 years now. And if you've ever attended a sound check with us,
Well,
we break the rules quite a bit. And,
can I break in on this one?
Yeah,
you
can.
guys are like two schoolboys. I mean, poor Gig has got to separate you two because you guys screw around so much.
No,
and
we
play around.
We love
Laugh and
showing each
don't-
other funny memes.
Yeah.
You know.
It is
Yeah.
like school time. It's
Yeah.
like high school.
Oh yeah.
But you guys have a good time.
We have
together.
a blast, and it spills over onto the stage, right? I
Yeah.
mean, even when we're on stage, we're gassing off with each other between songs. And
You
stuff,
are.
So.
I mean, literally gassing off. Probably. Hello, Christine.
Hi, Christine.
Literally. So we're excited about our guest because not only is he a fantastic musician, but he is a super close friend. He is our hockey partner in crime,
Mhm.
our game partner.
And one of the most phenomenal guitar
Oh, my
players
God.
you will ever witness.
But if you were in a room with Mr. Switch, you will laugh your ass off. I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Switch.
Mr. Switch. You will just laugh your ass off because it is a good time.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
always so much fun
Yep.
with Chris. Unless the Winnipeg Jets are winning, then it's not such a good time. I don't like
What?
that.
You don't
No,
like
it's
that?
not. No, it's not fun. No, it's not fun when they're winning because he tends to rub it in a bit much. So So, but you know.
Yeah. Well, why don't we show everybody a little clip of.
All right, so Chris is involved. Chris, I'll call him Switch. It's Chris Sobkowich, but Chris is involved in several different bands. But these are the two that I pulled from. So it's going to be The Long Run, and it's going to be Space Oddity, David Brighton, Space Oddity.
We'll talk about all of them.
Yeah,
We'll get around to all of them.
But here's a little glimpse of Mr. Switch. All right, you ready? Here we go.
Let's do this.
Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together and welcome to the stage, The Long Run!
Love the Eagles, and they sound exactly the same. They're very good.
They got the crowd going, and the crowd just stayed that way for an hour and a half.
And they sound exactly the same, and it's about $1,000 less.
Take it easy, take it easy. Ooh, witchy woman, tonight, the party tonight. Let's go.
They were spectacular. Every one of them sang and performed.
The Long Run played a tribute to the Eagles. The show was an hour and a half long, busted out every Eagles hit you could possibly want to hear, and they played to a packed house that was just loving every single second of it.
The energy on stage was amazing. It was an awesome evening, and I'd love to experience it again sometime.
I would recommend anybody to come to this thing, to be there and feel the vibes.
Welcome.
Holy smokes.
So if you guys were curious, the blonde bombshell to the, I guess it would be stage right of Brighton.
That's right.
Would be this Mr. Switch.
Yeah, that's the one. I dye it before the shows, you know.
Yep.
And that's the one thing I wanted to show you guys before we get started. We have the game nights.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh! Did you just find that?
It's the party game about nothing.
Oh my God!
No, this is going to be the interview about nothing.
You guys, if you don't even know, we love Seinfeld. We have that in common.
Yes, we do.
We throw lines back at each other all the time.
Yeah.
We have to plan a game night around that.
Yes, absolutely. But
Yes.
that means you're going to have to watch a bunch of episodes again.
No, I won't.
Oh, yeah,
I'm
you will.
good with it.
Oh, come on.
I know. I kind of crashed the
Swig.
last time.
Donna and I had a few practice rounds, and Donna definitely knows a lot more than I do about this game. But I've been watching every night, so pick my chops up.
I'm always quoting from that show.
Always.
And
Few Good Men or Seinfeld.
She looks at me like I've got three heads.
No, but it's weird. What do you have in that? What do you have in that cup, Mr. Switch?
Well, you know, a little this and a little bit of that.
A little holiday cheer.
A little holiday cheer. Well, welcome. We are so happy to have you on.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course.
yes.
No, we are so thrilled. And we must talk about the trouble that you and Woot get into on stage when you're doing sound check. You guys are constantly getting into trouble, right?
Well, like I say to Jim, we can't help it if we have a good sense of humor.
That's right. That's right. No, we
do drive gig rather nuts because a lot of times, sound checks are not the most exciting things to be part of a lot of times, and they go long. So yeah, Jim and I can sometimes get caught up on his phone looking at memes and telling jokes and all that. It makes the time fly a little bit.
Yeah,
it
does.
It does make the time fly.
It
does make the
does.
time fly. Well, let's start off with the bare bones. Where were you born? Because I
We
hear,
know, but nobody else.
but I hear a slight little accent going on.
Don't you know, eh? Well, I'm going to pull something out. A little prop here. And where I was born, according to my passport, is Esterhazy, Saskatchewan, Canada. Google Maps that.
Wow. So
yeah, and then my dad worked there, and then when he was transferred, and I probably ended up in Winnipeg when I was about 2, and then grew up in Winnipeg. Yeah,
Okay.
the Jets, home of the Jets there. So,
there you go.
but born in Saskatchewan, Esterhazy, Saskatchewan.
So hockey is a big part of your life and has been a big part of your life since you were very small, right?
Yeah. I mean, when you're in Canada, Jim, you've been to Canada, so it's like, it's just all hockey, nothing but hockey. That's like everybody plays, everybody watches it, everyone's into it, everyone's dissects. Everyone's a coach.
Couch
And
coach.
so you grow up always on the rink playing. Learning how to skate when you're really young. I myself, I play guitar. Like some of my friends went on to be very good hockey players. I wasn't one of them. But now my son Tegan plays a lot. We have a rink up here in Valencia, the Cube, and he's actually just played yesterday. He plays probably 3 or 4 times a week. He does both goalie and wing. Do you, Tegan? Right wing or? And when we go up to Canada, we always go up at Christmas time. And at my mom's, she has a outdoor rink directly across from her house, where there's like a full on kind of recreational center. They have Zambonis and all that, so we get to play hockey all day long. Free ice, so that's a lot of fun.
Free ice.
Yeah. And it's funny because I grew up with a lot of snow and ice, and it's a harder life living in California now. You don't, it's like you got to shovel your car out before you get to work, and there, all this stuff. But oddly enough, living now in California for all this time, I kind of enjoy the winters now. It's nice. It's kind of, you miss the seasons a little bit, and so you have to take advantage of it and just outdoor. I think you just have to make the best of it. It definitely gets cold some days, but it's nice to get out there and ski and skate and do all that winter stuff.
Well, and that's something we do not get in California is we don't get the seasons. We don't get the seasons. And it's kind of a blessing because we can walk out of our house and get into our car and go. We don't have to shovel through our driveway to get to work.
Let's say you say, okay, Chris, you got to come over on Sunday. We're going to have a game night. Bring that new game. We're going to kick your ass. And we're going to have a barbecue and all this stuff. We don't have to worry about, like, the weather will never disappear.
Oh, yeah, for
it's
sure.
It's not going to be like, it's raining.
Yeah.
Or, oh, no, there's a snowstorm, It's just like, it becomes like almost a no-brainer. Like, you don't even consider the weather until it gets to about 120 some days in the summer, which is brutal. But, yeah. And no bugs. That's the other thing. When you live in a place that in the summer, it's like in Winnipeg, it gets hot in the summer, but there's so much humidity because there's so many lakes. So like being maybe in Texas, if you're familiar with like Houston or something, you can get that kind of humidity. But that draws a lot of bugs. So you'll be sitting out there trying to enjoy a cold beer, and you're like swatting mosquitoes. And so in you definitely get spoiled in California. I gotta say, like you sometimes get my pet peeve about living down here is the traffic, and just and unfortunately, say Jim was just mentioning that we're going to be doing that residency. Starting in June, I think 14 weeks. So that's 14 Wednesdays, every Wednesday, driving from where I am up north somewhat, all the way down to San Diego County. And the gig's great, everything's great, but just the thought of going that some days the traffic, it can be anything that can throw it off. A little accident, this or that. And it's just, you dread that drive, you know. And then sometimes going home, they fix the roads then, so they take you on all these residential streets. And so you think you're going to get home at 1, it's 3 in the morning, and it's just,
Oh, we have many nights.
You know what I'm saying?
Hey, you know what? You and I and maybe Robbie and Gig should plan on doing some carpooling.
You know, it's sure. I'm glad you bring that up because that's what Robbie lives down the road, like up north of me. It's La Mosquito Road, but we were talking about exactly that. Like, and especially with gas prices right now, we should do that, and it would just make it a little easier. Because you know, you got. I think rides like when you're carpooling too, you can take advantage of some of the carpoolings, but it just goes so much faster. When you're talking and stuff, and before you know it, you're at the gig. So it'd be nice to have the company too.
I have to tell you, I love the splash of wheat, like billowing through the.
Yeah, that was a wedding gift from my grandpa from Saskatchewan. He goes, if you ever can't buy bread, you can make bread.
So I don't know. Chris says if you don't do hockey, do curling. I just don't get.
That's an interesting question. How interesting is that? Well, I got to tell you, all my cousins, my older cousins, my mom, believe it or not, has 12 brothers and sisters. So when you drive into Melville, Saskatchewan, there's actually a statue of her mom, like you're holding a thing for raising all these kids. But they all curled, and I can remember they have the curling brooms.
Yeah,
and there was curling all up in that area. I never got into curling. I actually started watching. I watch it sometimes when it's on the Olympics, and it's like a huge shuffleboard game, with ice. It's kind of like that, but but I know a lot of my cousins play curl. It looked like a lot of fun. It was a good excuse to drink beer.
Explain what curling is, because I don't know.
Okay, well, if you think about when we're at a club, let's say, and there's the shuffleboard. And you know how you have those rocks, and you got to throw them. You put the salt on the table, and you try to get a bullseye, and then there's points around that bullseye, and then you try to knock the opponent's rock out of place. That's essentially what curling is, but it's on a huge like a big long 200-foot ice thing, and you have brooms, and you can sweep in front of the rock to make it go further, and then you have people that aim the rocks. Yeah, so it's and then you have a couple guys. That's curling.
All right.
You definitely don't see a lot of people curling in California. I'll say that.
You do what you do when you
Donna curls her hair, but other than
that, she always has her hair day because of that swig.
Oh, we haven't talked.
No. By the way, guys, one of our nicknames for Chris is Swiggy Stardust. So if you hear me call him Swig, it's just a kind of an abbreviation.
Yeah.
I
don't know if you can.
There you go.
Swiggy Stardust.
We have some more friends joining us here. We got Rod. Hey, Rod.
Hey, Rod.
Rick, Claire, Anitra.
Hi, Anitra. Anitra came on. Anitra saying hello, Chris.
Karen.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us.
Alan Mealy.
This is the interview about nothing.
That's what it is.
No. It's going to be very, very interesting. So,
I can't even wait. I can't even wait.
Awesome.
We are going to have so much fun.
So awesome.
And it's going to be a night of Jim getting so mad at me because I don't answer any of the questions.
So it's good.
Because I tear into this too soon.
You know what? We should be on the same team then. Yeah, we'll be well hydrated.
We are on the same team.
So the week of the week prior to the game, I'm going to have her watching Seinfeld 24/7.
He does. He has me study because you're so competitive when it comes to that.
Yeah.
Well, it has all the seasons now on Netflix. So a lot of times when I get home, I'll just I'll just loop the Seinfeld episodes, and it's not long before I'm just sitting there and then I'm just laughing out loud and wake up Donna and she's not impressed at all. But everything opposite, Jared. I'm doing everything opposite.
What's your favorite episode there, Swig?
God, you know what? That's funny you ask that because there's so many good ones, but probably the one that is from top to bottom would have to be the Festivus for the rest of us.
So Donna,
that's a great
but
one.
Donna's saying the soup Nazi.
Donna
Soup
Jen-
Nazi.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
amazing one.
Yeah.
Or I love the one where Jerry is dating that girl, and he tells anything funny, and she goes, and she has that horrible laugh. And
You know,
a comedian dating someone who doesn't want to make a laugh.
you know what? You know which one I love?
What's up?
I was in the pool.
Remember that?
I was in the
the shrinkage. The shrinkage. Did you see her? You saw her breast? Remember that? When he was driving, he's thinking he's going to see her breast. Everyone does except him. And then that's the one, too, where Chris gets all those lobsters.
Oh, yeah. That's
there are
great.
so many.
It
Like
doesn't stop. You know, it doesn't
I have
stop.
so many running through my mind. The
Yeah.
ugly baby, the bubble boy.
What about Swig? Do you remember at the car rental place? I know what reservations are for.
Oh, that is best.
Do.
That is so. And how, seriously, with all the traveling you and I do, Jim, how many times does that kind of crap happen? You know, when you do a reservation and they don't have the reservation, and you're in New York or something, you're like, well, you obviously don't know what a reservation is, right? Because if you did, I would have a car.
That's right.
Hello, Christina.
Hey, we got Christina Gordon.
Christina
on with
Gordon's
us.
on.
Oh, hey, how are you?
We have Giga. Oh, we have
Giga.
this. Wait, no, that's not Giga. Hold on, this one's
Yeah,
Giga.
we do. Got to include the contest.
The contest.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, the contest.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
That's a really good one.
Who
Well,
lost
the
that?
game is ready. I mean, we just broke it out the other day, and it's. You said you had one of the DVDs in it, Jim, or something?
With a DVD in it. You remember
Yeah,
that?
that sounds pretty good. This doesn't have DVDs. it just
in
has
that
cards.
one?
You know what it has too? Just to show you guys real quick, because you see if you remember this episode.
Okay.
It has. You know what this is? It's
Wait a
hard to
minute.
wait.
Wait, is that a fishing pole?
That's a fishing pole. Remember the rye bread? And they're trying to throw it up into- There's part of the game where you have to connect this and see if you can get it from one
Jerry,
team to
where
another.
Jerry stole the rye bread from the old
Yes.
lady.
And then that's when he had the gassy horse. Remember that?
Yes.
And
I
that was
remember
when
that.
the horse beans.
Awesome.
So
That was
let's hope it's as fun as it looks.
Yeah.
Oh my
that's
God,
great.
that was amazing. Well, we have to definitely plan a night because we will be
Oh,
laughing
man.
our butts
Oh
off.
yeah.
Our game nights are always so
Jim,
much.
you gotta bump up your game. I've been watching those episodes, so
All right.
I think Donna and Jim already
Well, you
have
know-
it on because they know those stuff. We
Hey,
can't get
Gig
those
is
two
a
on a team.
master.
So
at it.
here's what we got. We got a little box. It's not an illegal box, but we bought a black box. And
Wait. Oh, sure. Let's just announce that to the world, shall we?
But it
It's not really illegal, but we get all these channels for free.
we have it's Seinfeld 24/7. Seinfeld. One of the
Oh.
channels is called
That-
Seinfeld 24/7. Let's just announce it to the world.
How's it going, buddy? I can't get enough of it. I could and you know what? It's the
Kill the
I
world.
watch it, and even though you've laughed at it already, it still makes me laugh. You know, every time
Yeah,
it's just so. It's like all those actors, the whatever you call that casting,
Yeah.
just so on spot, right?
Oh,
and then the writing is just so good.
It's
Yeah.
The
amazing.
delivery of these jokes, it's like, it's just hard to beat that. It's like
We
there's
love it.
very few shows that are that good. Like maybe like I Love Lucy kind of stands
Oh, yeah.
out because you can
Friends.
still watch that and it's funny still, even though
Yeah.
it's made so long ago.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of shows that just don't.
No.
Yeah, you're right. You're
I
right.
always tell people about Seinfeld. I always say, hey, Seinfeld is the Beatles of sitcoms.
Yeah,
That's
you're
good.
right.
That's an interesting way to look at it. Yeah.
That
Yeah.
was a
That's
cultural
true.
phenomenon that we will never see again.
You're
that
right.
show
You're right.
from
You're
first season to last
It's
was the
unbelievable.
best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super funny.
Okay. Let's
Shrinkage.
talk to what you're holding in your hand there. What inspired you to become a musician, and at what age did you start playing, Switch?
Whew. You're getting good at this. That was a good question. When did I start playing? Well, as you know, but my dad played music. All my family played. It's funny, the reason I probably started is because my dad was playing. He played violin primarily. He also played piano, accordion, and Well, kind of everything a little bit, but he mastered the violin, I would say, like that, and that's what he got paid for. But he would play these polkas, you know, these two like 2/4 polkas, and
Yes.
the violin, when you're playing like lead lines or single lines, it didn't have any harmony behind it. So he showed me a power chord, you know.
Yeah.
The 1 and 5, not even a bar chord, because this is when I'm 5 or 6 years old. Okay, so he showed me this power chord.
Yeah.
He showed me this power chord, and then this one, and then he would have me go. On this arm, he said, just go like this. He would have me practice going and pushing the strings down on the and on the and releasing. So he'd go. And so on. And so basically a lot of the music was like 1/4/5, but I was just playing power chords. But I would accompany his polkas, and that was why he wanted me to play. So I, of course, being a kid, and I'm thinking, well, this isn't that fun, you know. Playing polkas with your dad, right? But I look back at what a great time that was. But looking back now in hindsight, I was getting a lot of musical education because, for one, if you play guitar at all, you realize that a lot of the feel of guitar is how you push and pull on this to get muting, and then you're strumming. So I was getting my both hands working and getting an accompaniment, you know, getting that kind of just pulsing feel. And then also my ears were getting developed because there was no music. I could start identifying. Well, at that time I was going, that's a 4 chord, that's a 5 chord, but I knew where the changes were starting to happen.
I see.
So you know, you do that for a few years and you hear these polkas. You actually get a lot of musical education on those simple things. You're playing all these chords in different keys. You're hearing the music, and that's the biggest thing, is like hearing the changes. I mean, you can read charts, that's great, but if you can use your ears, I think all the best musicians have the best ears, you know. Absolutely. And that's from listening, not from anything else. I mean, I learned how to read music, and that's a nice tool to have too, but your ears are your best friends, you know.
Yeah.
So that was like 5 or 6 years old.
Oh God, that's how old he was when he started me. And like, you look back, it was the development. And then I think you might like this story. My cousin Brent Sobkowich played drums, and he lived on the other side of town. He was my dad's brother's son. He played drums. He had a band, and we would go there because both of my dad and his brother played violin, so they do harmony violins, and we'd go and do these polka jams. Well, I show up there, and my cousin Brent had a band, and that's the first time I saw like a bass guitar. It was on the cover. I'm like, what is that? Like, look at these strings, you know. And his friends are all there, and they go downstairs, and you know, they jam out Black Dog by Led Zeppelin. And I'm like, holy crap! And then at that time in life, I'm like 9 years old, and I'm listening to like Black Dog, you know. You probably get a rash when you hear that, and by now, Jim. But anyhow, Brett would say, "Oh, we wrote that song. You know, that was our song, and we wrote it because there was a big black dog that was on top of the stairs, and they was barking when we were playing it." And I was like, "Oh, really? That's how you? That's that? You know?" And it's of course Led Zeppelin, right? But that gave me the wow, there's music beyond polkas, is rock, you know. And so I think one of the first riffs I learned on guitar was AC/DC. It was TNT. That was probably one of the first ones, and I'd play that over and over and over and over again. And of course, it sounds like it does now. There's no distortion, you know, there's no overdrive. Right. So I was like, it doesn't sound right, you know, and not knowing, like, I'm just like, why doesn't it sound right? So I figured out a way to hook up the jack of this guitar. My dad's pickup on his violin had an 1/8" jack, and this is a 1/4" jack, but I could plug it into his stereo, his cassette deck. And then what I would do is I'd press record and pause, and then I would crank the levels, and through the stereo, would come distortion. So I was able to get distortion that way. It was weird how I came across that. I kind of think that's just so weird that I figured that out. And then I could also record myself because I could hit the pause button off, and so I would record myself. But once I had the distortion sound, which sounded a lot like, say, the intro to that Beatles song, Revolution. Because basically that's what they did with his guitar. They plugged it into the console and they just cranked it. So it was that type of distortion, kind of fuzzy, not as refined as some might like, but it still was distortion. But I remember recording that, and I would play it to my friends, and they would all go, "That's not you," because no one knew how to get distortion. I had figured that out. So that was probably the first lick, and then another one that my cousin Brent showed me that I probably played a million times. See if you know this. It goes. Okay.
Is that Cheap Trick?
Cheap Trick. Yeah. Hello there.
Good job. Wow.
He's good, isn't he?
Hello there.
Yeah.
Is that the song?
So it starts,
Yes.
simple, right? But I just love the sound of this, which I know now is a fourth to a third to a five. And there's Led Zeppelin songs he does that in too. I know when we play, like I learned it's very similar to that, but I just love the sound of that. So I would put that thing on the cassette, put it on, crank the levels, and my day would be fucking set, right? Pardon me. Yeah. But then another thing is that then I learned how to take my dad's amp that he played violins with and crank it. And I would get distortion that way. Wow. But of course, my parents weren't that pleased about that discovery because it was just shaking the house downstairs, right?
Oh, man.
So but it was way better for me because I'm like, you can feel that. So I'd put it in my room and I'd crank it. And when you hit that, like any amp that's 20 watts or so, you crank that, you're going to get, any amp, but it was probably about 20 watts. So it wasn't like a Marshall Plexi where you're going to break windows with. But, and I remember playing my riffs, whatever I was playing, like this. And we lived at I guess you call it a duplex, where my bedroom was like if I looked out my bedroom window, the ground would be right there, and then we had upstairs. So I'm playing that, and I look up, and all my friends are looking through the window, watching me play this riff because I guess they could hear it down the street. And I remember thinking, "Wow, I maybe am onto something." Because I was getting some attention from my friends out that I'm doing something that the others couldn't, and was a little better at than they were better at me with hockey. I could do this, so that's probably around 10 or 11, like Discover Rock, and then I just got so into it. Like, I mean, I was talking about weather. In Canada it gets super cold, especially in Winnipeg, and I think that part of that was good in a way, because in the winter, like I did some winter sports, but I didn't get into hockey heavily because my friends got way better. But it gives you a lot of time to practice because there's not really anything else to do. So I would go into my own little worlds, and I would start getting like guitar magazines, and I would just start practicing. And I got so into it, and I would listen to records and then play along to them. That's another thing I would do, just soloing, not even knowing what I was doing. Like I learned, I think, a box shape that everyone learns at that age, and I just jam over the records, and again using my ear, not knowing what I was doing. Sure. And so that I just kept on developing, and then I started taking guitar lessons. And I went to a first guy, and he was pretty good, and we were learning out of the Mel Bay book. I don't know if you did that.
Yeah, I remember that.
So your Ode to Joy.
Yes.
And then all the way to number 3, really learning the cha-cha with 8th notes and 16th notes and stuff. And it was just, I was doing it because I was learning a bit about music, but it was not exciting to me. Then my mom took me to this other teacher. His name was Nick Okenko. And he worked at this place called Marshall's Music in Winnipeg on Henderson Highway. And he was awesome because he knew all these Randy Rhoads solos and Van Halen solos and stuff. And I had no idea what he was doing, but he was able to show me like these, shapes that all these guitar players learn, like this number 1 shape. And then when you do some arpeggios with it, like.
Sure.
He showed me that. I couldn't believe it. That's Randy Rhoads Over the Mountain, the solo. And I had no idea how that would win. When he showed it to me, it was like my hands could play it, but I was
Yeah.
like blowing myself away. I was like, I can play Randy Rhoads solos. Oh my God. I can't believe it. And I would literally sit and play that a million times. Like I just couldn't stop playing.
Yeah.
Living in a situation where there were pretty heavy winters, you had a lot of time to.
That's the thing. I think that
perfect
it would.
the craft.
I was discussing this with some other musician. I can't remember who, but we were discussing like Texas. All that center has so many great guitar players like Eric Johnson, Steve Ray Vaughan. They're all and we were kind of discussing how a lot of these guys, like if you have been in Texas, there's some beautiful spots, but it's not as eye-catching as say California is. And you probably get like, well, what am I going to do? And a lot of times there's not a lot of beauty around you. You kind of look within somewhat. And I think a lot of those guys I can identify with. They may not have had those dreadfully cold winters, but they didn't have a lot to do. So they ended up picking up the guitars and they find interest in that and they keep playing, and they start getting better than anyone else on the planet, Yeah. And
So
if you listen to Eric Johnson or Steve Ray Vaughan, you know what I mean? It's like insane. They're both completely different players, but like, wow. And so that's the thing. Like, I think if it weren't for those cold winters, chances are it might have not played as much and not got into it. Because I think the more you learn about something, the more interested you get into it, And so, go ahead. Sorry.
So I was going to ask you, tell me something. Are you drinking water right now?
No. It just appears.
That's not what I was going to ask you, but you threw me off for a second. Okay, so switch. What is something interesting? I'm gonna call you Mr. Switch.
I like your attitude. I like your attitude, lady.
The level of respect there.
That's gonna be my name for you, Mr. Switch. Mr.
Wow.
Switch.
Hey, I just got bumped up a notch.
What is something interesting nobody knows about you? Nobody knows about you. We know you're a musician. We know you're a hockey fan. What is something interesting?
Well, I mean, God, let me think. As you know, I like to go out. I like to have a great time. And I love doing that. But there's this another side to me, the yin and the yang, where I love just being by myself and being like kind of a hermit.
I actually know that. I
probably find that weird, but I think you don't get good on an instrument by partying. You know what I mean? Like, you kind of ponder, and I think I like that balance, and it might seem kind of surprising, but I do love just going for walks. I have a mountain bike. I do mountain biking. I do gardening. Things that I'm totally by myself, but I end up being able to just kind of chill out and think and get into the oneness with everything. So,
but you make pickles.
By the
pickles.
way,
I do make pickles too. I love pickles. I mean, I got my mom's recipe, so I got these pickles. And actually, it's funny you mentioned that because I got all my ingredients all up and running. So I'm going to Oregon tomorrow, but when I get back, that's on the agenda, the pickle making. So we'll get, and I do dill, like mostly dill, but dill, cauliflower, jalapeno. And last year I grew my own dill. So that was when the pandemic all happened, I was able to garden.
I don't believe we've ever had pickles.
I'm going to bring some to this time. I'm going to bring some and we'll play the game.
All right.
We'll do pickle martinis.
There you go.
How does that sound?
But hey, that's, I forgot to say right at the start there, Switch, I have to apologize to you because by having you on the show, that means two things.
Uh-huh.
One, we both had to shower, and number two, neither one of us are in bed right now where we love to be, right?
You two are brothers as far as Donna and I feel the pain of having husbands who don't get out of bed.
If we were like, what is that Disney show where they have like Dopey and they have Snoopy, and then we would be sleepy, right? Or like, what's the guy that sleeps by the tree with the big beard? You know that guy? That's Jim and I totally. But like, he and I are the only ones. Jim's better at this than I am because we can get on a plane together and he'll enter first, let's say, and then I'm going past him. He's already sleeping. Like, that's how fast. And I'm always in envy with that because that's good. I can get to sleep pretty good, but it's funny. Jim and I talk about this. I look at sleep like, charging your iPad. Like, if you can get your iPad to 100%, get that way more stuff, and you're way more effective, and you can get more done. And I like being well rested. So sleeping 13 hours a day is not a big deal to me.
You too.
You're a man after my own
You
heart.
too.
brother.
I'm
I
telling
just got a
you
new pillow. You're gonna love it.
Really?
Yeah.
Killing me, man. You're killing me, Small.
So there's something else interesting that happened when you were 19.
Woo.
We're going to show a clip of this right now.
All right.
So just to give you guys an idea of what Switch is capable of at 19 years old. You got to see this, guys. We're going to
Is this
show
the hockey footage?
No, did you
hockey footage. No,
All
no.
right.
This was a competition called Guitar Wars. We'll play it
Oh.
for you. We'll let Switch tell you about it after we're done. Go ahead.
Are you ready? Get ready for Chris Sobkowich.
Wow. That was you.
I can't believe you guys played that whole thing.
That's crazy.
She just had to peel me off the floor.
That was insane. 19. By the way, I love the hair. I love the hair. The hair was good.
Oh yeah, that's a mullet, wasn't it? I don't know what I was doing back then.
Hey, but
I don't know what I was doing. Yeah.
do you still know how to play that piece? That whole
Yeah, I definitely know all. Like, of course, I remember doing all like the tapping stuff and sweep picking. As you know, as you start playing in bands, and back then too, like you don't really have opportunities to kind of do a solo like that.
Sure.
But that was interesting because it just took me to Toronto, and the judges. I don't know if you know who Kim Mitchell is, but he was in a band called Max Webster. Huge Canadian artist. Jeff Healy, who unfortunately passed, he was the blind.
Sure, I remember Jeff Healy.
He was one of the. And what was one of the coolest things was after we did that, we all had this big blues jam, and I'm standing right next to Jeff Healy, jamming the blues, and I'm just like, it's like, wow, he was already on the cover of guitar magazines at that point. He had, I think his second album had come out because he had See the Light, the first one, and he was just this phenomenon. But I remember my mom and my brother and his friend came out with me, and they were sitting in the audience. And after the jam, my mom goes up and she goes, "That Jeff Healy, he's good." He's good. But if no one knows, he would play on his lap and play like this, and he became really famous. And like I said, he was sharing the stage with Stevie Ray Vaughan and all that. He ended up getting famous very quickly because it was such a unique thing to see. But in addition to that, he was just such a music freak. Like he actually had a record program. I can't remember what it was called in Toronto because he collected 78s. It was really old. Yeah. And he would play all his old jazz 78 records. And he was like a musicologist at heart, really. He knew so much about music, but but that was what he became famous for. And unfortunately, he was blind because of cancer, and it came back, later in life. So it was kind of sad to hear that, especially when, Canadian brethren like that. So lost, but yeah, but it's funny because I look at that and it was designed for a guitar solo and for an audience because you have to go through all these stages to get to Toronto. But it's funny how now, a little older, the things that you get paid to do are like, it's like a drummer. Like if you were just to play the best, all these drum licks and stuff, it's pretty impressive for a drum solo. But of course, in a band context, you want a drummer that can play a groove, play in time, have good tone, know how to tune his drums, and also give the band signals for where the parts are going to be changing. That's such a great plus. And just knowing musical structure and time, tone, and taste is, at the end of the day, is what gets you paid, And so you need to have those elements. And and everything else past that is just kind of fun. So it's funny how back then you're so young, 19, that you're young, dumb, and full of. But
well, you won that competition though, right? You won
it. That's crazy.
Not only that, but there was a competition the year before, and I won that one in Winnipeg. And that wasn't a national one. That was just a regional one in Manitoba. I won that one. Then that was the year after. I won the 89, then that. And then in 89 too, I was playing classical guitar at college, and I got into my grade 10 in the Royal Conservatory of Music, which is like they grade everything. So grade 10 is the last grade before you get a thing called an ARCT, which is like a degree in guitar. Because I was just crazy for guitar. Like I was just absolutely mad. Yeah. And so I won that competition on classical guitar even. It was crazy. But I think I was at a level that was advanced enough where I didn't have a lot of competition in the classical realm, So it was a crazy time. And then I was playing in bands in Canada and that, and doing like the touring and teaching a lot. And I just decided I was about, that was 19, maybe about 21, 22, I got to go to GIT.
Yeah.
Not just to go to the school, but it would give me a reason to go to LA because I just felt that if I didn't do it then, it would never happen. You know what I mean? And so I ended up putting this demo together, and ironically it worked out where I had a friend who was doing a class in college for engineering, and he needed a band to record. So I put my brother on bass, Kevin, and a friend Keith on drums, and we called ourselves the Wild Wahoos or something. And I just wrote 3 kind of songs that were in that vein, like guitar kind of Satriani vein, Van Halen like, with shuffles and stuff. And we ended up recording, and I got that recording done for free because he was using it for his whatever he was getting, his degree of some sort. And I used that to go in Canada to give you grants. And I used that as a vehicle to get a grant from the government, because the government in Canada supports arts, and they'll support you if you want to go to college somewhere. So I was able to raise about $5,000 doing that just off that demo tape. And then I saved the rest, and my parents helped me out, of course. And I was able to move down, I think of 94 that was. And that was a big shift, because at that point in time in Canada, I was already playing in some pretty established band. I was offered a really great gig before leaving that was hard to turn down. But again, it's like you get tested when you're going to make a jump into something else. And as hard as it was to say no to that, I ended up just going to LA. And it was a big change, because you go from, being a big fish in a small pond to now being, in the ocean, and there's all these people. And I remember just missing my family so much, because you're always with them, and you don't take it for granted. But it's now I'm just in LA I didn't even have a car, just a suitcase and my guitar, walking down Hollywood Boulevard every day to go to GIT.
Right.
And it was a cool year. Met a lot, and that's the thing. You go there because you want to meet and network with people. Right. I saw friends that are in Europe and that's basically how I got to stay, is meeting people. I was able to get, after graduating, a job at a recording studio called Bowie Rodeo. And I ended up being more of a session guitar player at first, which I would like playing live. Mm-hmm. So there's not as much gratification in the studio. It was like I was still young enough that I wanted to go out and see the world and jam and play. And I'm playing on these records and actually got these record deals and stuff through that. But it was a challenging time, because even with these record deals, just the money, I got a check for maybe $3,000, and then that was it. Then not a lot of gigs. So you're like the typical starving musician, whereas coming from Canada, I was already pretty established. So it took it's like trial by fire, a rude awakening.
Yeah.
But through that, there's bands, if you want to check out on YouTube, there's a band called Rumble Tribe, which was signed to Zero Records, I think it was called, and that's what my bank account became. and then another band was called Steelhouse Lane. Mike Slammer produced. If you don't know who Mike Slammer is, he's like one of the world's greatest guitarists, and he's played on countless albums that you don't know. But he was like a ghost guitar player. He also played in Kansas. He actually lives up the road. I can see his house from mine, because we live on a hill.
Oh wow, that's awesome.
Super, super talented. Like producer, everything, So he produced records. It's called Steelhouse Lane. You can go on YouTube and there's full records on that. And that was like, the irony of all that time was 94, 93, 94. And I had those 2 records, so 2 record deals, and then a third one with the songwriter. And then Nirvana came out, and these records were very much in the vein of, like, say, Whitesnake. And of course, I'm playing like shredding solos, and now suddenly everything changes, right? So so not only is it tough enough when things you think are going your way, then the whole landscape of music changes in rock. And I can remember even being in the studio, and you put all those hours into the guitar, and like y'all play something, and the producer at the time would go, "That's a little busy. Can you play something a little less?" So you're like, "Okay, no, it's a little too clean, okay, I'll try this one. Can you not make the vibrato so perfect? Because they wanted to hear like that kind of whatever you call it. So they would end up, I'm not kidding, taping my fingers together with, like, they would tape these 2 together, and they'd have these, and they'd have me play, and they'd also fill me up with vodka. A lot of it back then would, like, I'd play something and they'd go, "That's great, but we're looking for something a little worse."
Oh man.
So what a change, So
that was the alternative.
A real awakening, and it's funny because when I think back, like you go, man, now whenever I play what I practiced so hard to attain at that time, it sounds dated. Like everyone doesn't want to hear that, and you're forced. Like I would play Ebo a lot now, like just so I wasn't playing like notes, because as soon as I hit notes, because you could just tell the hours I had put in, it just was too clean. I actually auditioned for Red Hot Chili Peppers. And this was when I remember going, there was this huge lineup, and I went in there, and there was the band, and I got to the second stage where we played with the band, and they literally said, you're not to, like, I don't mean this like to toot my horn, but they were just saying, you're too good, meaning we were looking, they wanted someone like like John Frusciante, his style, like it's
sure.
a little rough around the edges, right? And like when you have a guy that's so articulate, you know what I'm saying? It's just, and it's absolutely not about being good, and maybe that's the wrong way to say it. It's about just fitting. The fit wasn't right.
Sure.
But
totally.
Yeah, so you that's usually with any band, like it's about fitting in. So look wise or playing wise or style wise, that's but it was interesting because then you go through this whole metamorphosis, like what am I playing music for? Like, is this worth it? And it ended up for me being where I boiled it down to the very core of why I want to play music, and it's because I love it, firstly. And secondly, it's because I believe that whenever I'm around musicians or music, David,
that's like that one.
That's our friend David.
The story about his moth. I want to tell you this moth story. So, anyways, I just thought I believe that music can make the world a better place.
You're right.
People 100%. More than ever need the arts in our society. People are just getting too dumbed down, and they're too aggressive. They need things just to calm them down. You know what I mean? Like, and to see beauty in things, and music will do that. The arts will do that. So that was kind of the reasoning. I kind of had a new epiphany of like, that's my goal, is to, however I can get people. The most thing I would love is to get people to play, not just listen, because. I mean, it may sound a little harsh, but it's like, why watch porn when you can have sex? It's like,
that's right. I tell her all the time.
I know. I mean, it's serious.
Good, like that's the difference. Exactly. If you don't play, it takes a lot of time, but you get so much more benefits out of being a participant. Than just kind of being a bystander. Although I know when we did a boat cruise just a few weeks ago, and I was able to see one of my favorite bands, Living Colour.
Oh,
to meet those guys. Got to jam with Corey Glover. So amazing. Such an amazing singer. But that band was so good that you get so inspired when you see it. It's like you get, like, performers can do that. You're like, oh man, now I know why I play. It reminds you. So performances can be very powerful too. But I would love more people to play music. Like, get guitar. You don't have to be a professional, but just play, and you'll be surprised at where that will take you.
Right.
It's deceiving.
Yeah, and in fact, that goes right into the next question. How did you enter into the tribute world? What was your introduction to that?
Oh, that's an interesting question. So I think how that happened was, believe it or not, so I had done those records that went pretty much nowhere, financially especially, but I had records out in music and was writing, and just a friend called me up. I actually went up for Christmas to Canada, and I get this call when I was up in Canada. Do you want to join this disco band? And I'm like, well, what do you mean a disco band? And he goes, well, it's like this parody. They do this disco. It's a parody. They wear costuming and wigs, and I'm like, wigs? And I said, I don't know. Like, it sounds a little weird. And he's like, no, it's like they'll train you kind of how to do the moves, but it's really becoming popular. And I'm saying, I don't know what the costumes and the wigs. I'm at that time Mr. Guitar, like I put so much time and I cared about that, and I'm thinking, I don't know. Yeah. And then he tells me how much they were going to pay, and I said, where's the wig? That was the Boogie Nights. So I ended up starting with the Boogie Nights, and what was really great about that experience was, for one, financially, I went from zero to hero. I mean, like, I was getting paid in cash. I just had. They were paying me very, very well, and it was just so nice because you're like, dying. You have no option suddenly now that you're breathing again. But they would, you had all these like choreography, so you'd be dancing, and they would say, if you have a dance step and you have a guitar lick, do the dance step over the guitar lick. That's more important. And I'm like, what? At that time with my guitar brain, my GIT brain. But what I learned is that people, like, they were entertained. And I started to learn, wow, like, not that I didn't have a sense of entertainment, but it really was struck home how people want to have a good time. And if you go out there, doing that campy stuff, talking like a clown, having your wig on, dancing, it just makes people loosen up. And at that time, that 70s things hit so hard that it was just it was so fun, and I really understood like being not just a musician but like an entertainer. You know what I mean? Like that part of it became predominant, and so knowing how that affects people, it became kind of important to me to have those elements when I'm playing in bands. And so bring in, like, say when I met David in the Bowie thing, that to me that's like a typical, like we're recreating a time.
Yes.
With costuming and wigs and the
100
sounds, the moves, all those things, and he's going morphing through the generations, or or the decades of Bowie, because there's so many sides to him.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And to me, and then there's multimedia and all this kind of stuff. I mean, that became something I became really interested in. Like, it was more than just a couple, like a guy in a corner shredding guitar with a drummer and a bass player. It's like these are shows, and people enjoy it more. You know, they a lot of people see, listen with their eyes, and you still have an opportunity to play, but it just became so much funner to see people just having a great time, and that comes through that entertainment side of things.
Right.
So that's probably how the springboard into the tribute world is through the Boogie Nights, and then that was kind of like a tribute thing in a way.
Right.
I can quickly tell a story about the long run. I got in with David first, and we were playing in Vegas on New Year's, and they opened up for us, and they were on the stage before us. So I was standing on the side of the stage because there was a real fast turnaround, so we had to be on the side of the stage. I don't think you were on that gig, Jim.
I wasn't.
Probably
That was
not.
at Fremont Street. That was Scott, right? I think.
Yeah.
But I remember they had. I'm not going to mention any names in the band other than Gary Hagen, who I really liked, and Gig, and the rest of it. I think Bird was in there. But anyways, I was watching them, and you're standing there and you realize, wow, I think they did. Heart of the Matter, which I love that.
Yeah.
And I remember Hagen sang it, and I was sitting in the stage going, man, I really love that song. And then they go into, say, like Life in the Fast Lane, and they're playing all these songs we were up with, and I kind of had forgotten how good of a catalog they had. So I'm really enjoying the band, and then I'm looking at the band, and I'm thinking, I could really bring something to this.
Yeah.
I could see, like, if I were to go in there and tweak out maybe and play with Hagen, I could see that being something. And then the other thing that struck me is those guys, when they were done, they ran off the stage with their gear. They were running to accommodate us. And as you know, Jim, a lot of guys don't like doing that. Like that, who knows why? Like, oh yeah, you think you're the headline? I'm not, But this was really unique to me, and I thought these guys are probably really.
Honey, what are you doing?
Am I here?
Yeah, we lost it for one second. What was it?
So basically saw that. So then, ironically, next week I go up to Edmonton, Alberta, in Canada with the Bowie, and I was talking to the drummer at the time, and saying, "Man, I saw this band, The Long Run, and they're really great." And he's like, "You know what? I know the keyboard player in that band, and I think they're looking for a guitar player." And I said, "What?" So I said, "Oh, you got to let them know, because I might be interested in something like that," because I had already kind of thought about, man, what could I bring to this? And so when I got back to town, sure enough, he sends me an email. I get probably Hagen's, I think it was Hagen's, I can't remember. But call him up, he calls me up. So we ended up meeting just up the road from mine here. It was both Gig and Gary Hagen. And we started talking, and sure enough, they need a guitar player. But then what they wanted me to do is do Hagen's part, which was like sing all those songs and which was fine. But I was like, oh no, I want to play with him. I don't want to play with the other guy. That's the guy I can see I can bring more to the table, right? But then a miracle happened. He got sick or something, this other guy, and he ended up so the dream, I got to play with that lineup, with Hagen and that's how I got in.
Yes.
And I've been, how long has that been now? It's crazy. So,
but yes, I think it's been 12 years.
12 years.
I think it's been
12 years.
12 years.
And I think about that too. Like even with the
12
Bowie
years.
thing, like we've been together. We have to be 12 years, maybe 13 years.
Yeah.
And that says a lot about, I think, the people involved, because even the Beatles didn't last that long. You know what I mean?
You're right. You're right.
Even Kiss,
right?
And all my favorite bands. So I think it says a lot about the tolerance of people and the mindset and the love of music and how we can get along, you know, and that's what makes it really fun, is because what a job to have. You get to play this great catalog of songs.
So Brighton
jet set around the world with your best friends. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah.
And to have a few beers in the meantime.
Were you in the band then?
I actually was. David.
Yeah.
But you just didn't do that gig.
I was playing with Zepp again that night.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, I wasn't with them. But I've been in the long run since 2004.
2004. But
crazy, right?
Zepp again
Yeah,
has been
18
your
years.
priority. You've had to
it's
sub
harder
in.
to sub out the role in Zepp again than it is.
Well, you're a multi-instrumentalist in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you do that intermission dance, you know, where you get in a dress and you know, so that's who's going to do that too, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but I get paid extra for that.
We got Robin Rawls in here in the house.
Do you remember our first gig, Jim? It was my first gig doing the long run, and we did that fair, and you guys came in a big truck and you picked me up, and we went to this fair, and this was, you remember this? We were playing on a side stage, and they had Weezer on the main stage.
Thankfully.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And so
that was your first show?
Yeah.
That was my first show ever. And gig hasn't changed a bit. The first thing he says to me when he comes to me, he goes, "Did you bring your jacket?" You know, like he's always like micromanaging, right? Everything. You sure got your jacket? Okay, because we got to wear these jackets. They got to be all black.
There is the fun gig and there is the stage gig.
Yeah. But you know what? Like that's the other thing too about being a musician. You can go, like, you can see 19, I was playing like that. Then you meet gig for the first time. He doesn't know me from a hole in the ground, and anything that I get out of respect is earned. So I can't expect him, you know, to think that I'm going to not bring a jacket to a gig if he doesn't know me. So he's just pleasantly reminding me. But you know what I'm saying? Everything's earned. You know, that's important. But it's so funny because we went into Desperado, right?
Yes, yeah.
And then all of a sudden we hear jump, 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 like hash pipe coming out of the main, and it was so loud that you couldn't even hear our band anymore. And then I remember thinking, well, this is bad, but it's also pretty good because I'm not going to be criticized as much for my first gig because no one can hear my parts.
I know, that was crazy.
Wasn't that nuts?
Yeah,
that was the first, but you were on that one. So.
Yes, and I didn't realize that was your first show, but I do remember that that scenario where Weezer was behind us there. That was crazy.
That was so loud. I mean, it was like, and then we're playing the ballad, right? And it comes in, hash pipe, just like, it's just like they're just pumping that PA to they're diming it, right? So
right. Now we wanted to touch on too the police academy. How did that come about?
Okay, well, that's interesting too, because who isn't a Police fan? You know what I mean? And that's another band that just great catalog for me, great guitar player. It's completely different than the other things that I'm doing, which I like to do because I enjoy playing in different projects because it, for me, keeps it a little fresh, and you always have different things to work on. I mean, as anyone knows, you probably know, when you hear this, you're probably going, man, if we didn't have to do this song tonight, I wouldn't be that upset about it. Just
we were just talking about that. I think I've played that song over 2,000 times now.
Well, it's like this for me. If I hear this, you know, like I can go into a store, and if that comes on, I just go whoop, and I go out, and I just, because there's some songs you just don't want to hear again because you play it so much. Like that's the gig though. So for me, it's just nice to be able to play different styles of music, and so that was kind of the reason that was born, is finding like two other guys with Berto and Whit Petrell, who sings the shit out of that, by the way. As anyone knows, if he sings everything, he's just great. But so we just decided, let's just do something that for fun and just have like a side project, and we can pick up some gigs. And so that's what we've done. And so actually we have the next gig we have is we're playing at Big Bear Discovery Center.
Yeah,
with our friends. Yeah, on August 12th.
What's the date on that?
August the 12th.
August 12th.
And we're playing with our friends DSB. Yeah. It's going to be a great bill, right? So
what do we do on August 12th?
I'm probably playing some.
You need to come up and ride my bike. I'm gonna bring my mountain bike up there. You
I'm
know?
gonna look right now.
She's looking
August
right now.
12th.
Swig.
Yeah. Look here. I know you're playing. That's
We are
the
not
Saturday.
booked. We
Wait,
are not
wait,
booked.
August 12th?
We
Wait,
are not
that's
booked.
a Thursday though.
No,
We can-
no. It's not. It's Thursday. What is it?
It's a Thursday.
Oh,
August
you want to know something? You know what? I might have said the wrong date. Let me just see here. I could have the wrong date.
All right. Yeah,
Which
that's
wouldn't surprise me. It's not like I don't get the dates wrong. Let me just double check here.
All right. So DSB and
Okay, no, I'm sorry. It's not the 12th. I read the thing wrong. There's another thing about this, Kate, because you're asking about the police. That's Saturday, August the 6th.
6th.
Yeah. That's a big deal.
Where am I?
But the 12th, this
Again,
might be
it's
something you're
playing at
interested
the
in.
Santa Fe.
This is
Santa Fe
a new band called Cuts Like a Knife.
Oh man!
Now, what music
Oh,
do
a
you think
Brian
that is?
Adams group, right?
That is going to be on the 12th, and that
Oh,
is
where at?
that is at. Holy God! I wrote this stuff down and I can't read my own writing.
We can do that.
D. Okay, wait. No.
Oh yeah.
God, I don't know where the hell it is. I
And
swear. Oh, here it is.
Resounding.
So
High Street Arts Center.
It's actually letting us know the right dates.
Okay, August 12th is the debut of this band. It's a High Street Arts Center, and you can get tickets at highstreetartscenter.com.
What's
Street
the
Arts
venue?
Center.
What is the
Pardon me?
venue? What
High
is the
Street
venue?
Arts Center.
So Brighton
what
says.
city?
Oh boy, that's a good
So
question.
Brighton's saying, so switch,
Oh, wait, here we
switch.
go.
Brighton saying, tell the story about showing them the day before.
Oh, David, can you delete him real quickly? And
Look, I feel like I might know.
is there a way you guys have control of that? Well, this actually, okay, you can see how I am with dates. I need help, but we were going somewhere up north, and we rented a van, and we were all going to meet at David's and park our cars there, and then all carpool in this van with our gear. And basically, I had blocked out. Whenever I get a date, I always block out the day before and the day after, because I've been caught. Like, say if it's a fly date or travel date, and I don't want to take a gig, and then you're like, oh no, we got to drive that day, and then you double book yourself, which is the worst feeling in the world for me. So I ended up going to David's, who actually at the time lived just up the road, luckily for me. I could get to his place from here in about 10-15 minutes. And I ended up showing up at about 4 a.m. at his house the day before we were leaving. And so I'm sitting out in his backyard, and there's no one there. And I'm like, I'm the first one here? That's pretty odd. So I'm just sitting there waiting. I'm going, and then I start thinking to myself, I thought these guys were professionals. So then I'm thinking, well, I'm going to go to his front door and knock on the door, So I'm walking around. I'm actually going to wake him up, right? Can you imagine?
Yeah.
And then I kind of start thinking, maybe I should just check my calendar. So I go and look at my phone, and sure enough, I'm there a day early.
Oh man! So what did you end up doing?
Better a day early than a day late.
That's what I say, right? and it's basically because of my love to rock. Like, I can't wait. So I want to if I can get there a day early, why not, right? But then, because I was so close, it wasn't that big of a deal, luckily. Like, I could just drive home 20 minutes, but then the next day we left. But then that's not the only time it's happened.
What?
It happened again?
Okay, so then this is, do you know Spot Lake 29?
Oh,
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
Okay, that's a pretty far drive, right?
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Okay,
That's a long
Indio, is it, or right?
Yeah, I think you're right.
Coachella, Indio area. So it's pretty. It's
A
going
little bit
on.
past fantasy.
Yeah, after you get there, you're on your way to Phoenix, basically, right? Like,
Right.
you're a quarter way to Phoenix, maybe a little more. So I get up, get all my car packed. I drive down there. We had a load in at noon, so I had to leave pretty early. But I left earlier because I wanted to avoid the traffic out of town.
Yeah.
So I get there, and again, I pull it in the back, and I'm like, God, there's no cars here. Like, nobody. And normally that back door, Jim, is open.
Yes.
It wasn't open, so I thought, well, no big deal. I'll just go around the front. This is my first rodeo. So I go around the front and I get in through the doors, like where the public would come in.
Yeah.
I'm walking in and there's people kind of setting up the stage and they're looking at me like this is detached curiosity. And I'm like, and they kind of go, yeah, can we help you? And I said, yeah, I'm here for, they go, what are you here for? I go, well, the gig, we have a gig here. He goes, what band? I said, well, Space Oddity, the David Bowie band. And he goes, you guys aren't playing till tomorrow.
So what did you do?
Wait,
what did you do? Did you drive all the way home?
Well, this is the thing. So I'm like, what? And so then they all just burst out laughing on the stage. Like they're laughing at me, right? So I'm like, shit. So exactly. So now I'm walking to the car. I went around again and I'm thinking, oh God, if I can drive back, but I'm going to hit traffic. So I ended up going to the hotel. They gave us like art, but I don't know if you call it an artist discount, but they discount the rooms.
Yes.
And so I went in there and I kind of said to the lady in the front desk, I said, you know, I kind of screwed up. I thought the gig was today. I had it in my head, but it's actually tomorrow. And I'm all the way up in Valencia. It's a pretty far drive. Is there any way I could get a room and I could maybe get the discount rate, you know, because, and then she started laughing. And then she went and got me the room for like, you know, 50% or whatever it was. So what I ended up doing was I went up the road. I got like a bottle of wine. I had some pickles with me that I had made. I got some swim shorts, and I got some movies downloaded on. I remember that Brad Pitt movie just had come out. That something about Hollywood or whatever the title was.
Yes.
Yep.
What was the name of that? Sal Gomez.
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
That's it. Yeah.
Okay, you guys saw that movie, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm thinking I'm gonna go see that movie because it's out, and then I called Donna and I'm explaining what happened. And she's like, you idiot. And I'm like, well, you know, I'm going to go see this movie. She's like, well, I want to go see that movie. You know, so I ended up just hanging out in the hotel. It was actually I got a day just to relax, chill out. I watched a couple of Netflix things, had a few glasses of wine, and then the next day I was there. So it wasn't that bad. And like you say, a better day early than a day late. But the funny thing is when we were sound checking, those guys just wouldn't let up. Like, they're like, okay, the guitar player that shows up a day early.
That is hilarious, man. That is so
It's good
funny.
you weren't blonde. It's good you weren't.
You know, like the thing is, like, well, Jim knows is that it's hard enough to follow one band when it gets bookings, and bookings aren't like, I don't know what the word would be. They don't, like, you don't just get a booking and then it just sticks. Like a lot of times it'll be, that's a booking. Oh no, they want to move it here. Okay, now they want to move this date. Oh, now your flight isn't here, but it's on this time. And you have all these things that are moving parts. And so if you're not on top of that, for one thing, it's, for me anyways, it's so easy to get confused. But then add in 2 or 3 other bands around that, all doing the same thing. So, and I really appreciate and respect those, like, the work that gets put into booking these shows, because like even to get 5 guys with a schedule together is an amazing feat in itself. So it's incredible. That's a lot of where the work lies, is that kind of stuff. You know, the bookings, the traveling, the booking of plane tickets, all that kind of stuff. But it's never just like it sits there. So if you don't, for whatever reason, you have that date in your phone or wherever you put your dates in, and then something changes, and just when it changes, you're going to put it in, but then the phone rings, and then you get distracted, and then you forget to put it in at that very moment. That's where these cracks occur, you know. And it's as hard as you try. I mean, I've gotten way better at it, and I have all these systems that I put into place to try to prevent anything like that from happening. But you know, nothing's perfect, that's for sure. Yeah, no. At least, you know what I mean? You
absolutely,
and
man.
How do you feel when you're the asshole?
It's
like, I just hate that when you look at your book and you're like, oh no, and then you think a little bit and you realize, I'm the responsible party for this.
It's true, man. It's so difficult.
The worst.
Your calendar,
I feel
man.
so bad because, like I said, I really appreciate that work that goes into bookings and all that.
Yeah.
So last question. I know you're in a few tributes right now, but if you had your choice to do a tribute to any other group at this point, and you could start it, and you could know you would be the best, what would it be? What tribute would you start?
If you could choose one.
Just one your favorite
And it
artist.
could be one you're in already.
I guess not necessarily your favorite.
It could be one you're in already. It doesn't have
Yeah,
to be.
well, that's the thing is that I feel pretty fortunate that the music I'm playing I like. You know, like that's a big plus. Man, you know, like it's funny you asked that because there comes growing up in Canada, of course, you got Rush. So it would be a lot of fun to play that catalog. And being that they're not touring anymore, to get a band that can really nail that stuff would be real cool. But the other thing I have to say that I'm a huge fan of like pop songs. Like, I mean, as much as I love heavy metal and all the hard rock stuff, I can listen to ABBA pretty easily too. It sounds crazy. So I have this pop ear, this pop sensibility. So I love Bryan Adams, and I'm so happy and excited to be playing this stuff because if you guys don't know, the guitar player in that band is Keith Scott, who has played on countless hits. Like, I mean, it's like crazy. And no one knows him. That's what's so crazy about it. Like people don't just say, "Oh, he doesn't come up when you talk guitar." Like when guitar players talk about guitar players, his name never comes up. But I challenge anyone to go and listen to those records. Cut Like a Knife. Anyone for that time, listen to his tone for one. It's I mean, it's not like Eddie Van Halen's, but it is as good for that time. Like he has a singing perfect lead guitar tone. It's perfect in my opinion.
That brings me to ask you. I mean, showing that you have all of those incredible chops doing the tapping and all that. Did you ever think about being in a Van Halen tribute?
That's another thing too. But I got to tell you, I love playing Van Halen. One of my favorite songs to play is probably by Van Halen. Well, the Spanish Fly and Eruption, of course, you learn, and all those. I love Mean Streets. You know, that whole intro, so cool. I mean, who thinks of that? But it's funny now when if I were 19, I would be totally into that. I'd be totally into it. But right now, just prancing around in spandex, at my age, is asking a lot, man.
I might pay to see that.
Yeah,
you know, but it's like the party thing is cool, but you kind of like I find that you like your tastes change a bit. You know, I love that style. Like Van Halen, there was a time where I didn't think I could almost any guitar player I listened to, I'd be like, well, he doesn't sound like Van Halen though, because he had such a reckless abandon, with amazing tone, and it was just fun. Like I mean, his guitar style was fun, like all those chirps and quirks. And it blended perfectly with David Lee Roth banter and all that. And it was really exciting. You know, if you listen down through when he kind of went into his decline and say Balance, for example, his guitar playing was like he just erased all the fun from it. And it became this wash of kind of reverb and chorus and a lot of dive bombs. Just lost the spark, and then I guess he just lost his enthusiasm for that stuff because he grew up, he wasn't a 19-year-old kid anymore either. So, so now it would be kind of tough. Like but it doesn't mean that I haven't lost any respect for that catalog or anything like that. It's just, I could see myself doing Led Zeppelin over that because Led Zeppelin just has a little, I think or even Bad Company,
sure.
Like something that has a little, I don't know. I wouldn't call it more mature, but it's just you can kind of vibe with it at our age, and it's I think you might agree with this. I don't know, but when I listen back to say bands like Bad Company, I have such a new appreciation for those guitar players because they were playing some badass shit. It wasn't maybe as fun as Van Halen was, but man, those open tunings and the sound and the songs, the singing. So it's just like I could stand on stage and feel pretty good about that,
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, maybe
I don't think I could do those splits.
Maybe we should revisit that Bad Company idea.
Yeah.
Breaking Bad Company.
Yeah, Breaking Bad.
Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad Company.
Don't give it away. I want to tell this funny story because David, I think is still there. I don't know, but this is so funny. When the pandemic was at its worst, I ended up growing a big beard. And my stylist never cut hair, so my hair grew really long. And basically, if I would walk down the street, people would cross the street.
I remember was that a couple of years ago?
But I always
was that COVID? Was that COVID?
What is that?
Was that COVID?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
so I ended up gardening, because I always I grew up with like all my mom and dad gardened. We always had, like, it's funny when I see like, whatever they call organic vegetables, like we grew up, that's what we always had because we grew our own food. But I started growing all these vegetables and stuff in the backyard because I had time to take care of them. And when you do that, you realize that you start attracting all these really unique insects that you never had seen before because they're laying eggs in your stuff. It's a whole other side to gardening. But anyways, one day this thing flew into my, I don't know what it was, maybe my jalapeno or something. I mean, it looked like the Mothman. Do you remember that movie?
Sure.
It was like a little, it was about the size of a hummingbird, but it was like fully like fur on it. And it had like these antennae and these two little teeth. It was spooky. Like, it looked spooky. And I'm like, what the hell is that? I mean, I have never seen anything like it. So I took a picture of it and I posted it up on Facebook. And I asked, has anyone ever seen this? Because I was really curious about what the hell this thing was, right? And David goes, oh, it's a jazz musician.
What did he say?
It was a jazz musician. Oh God!
Oh God!
It ended up being a hummingbird moth or something because I did some research on it myself.
Hummingbird moth?
Something like that. It was a weird thing but it loves jalapeno, I guess, or when it's flowering anyway. So
hummingbird moth.
Crazy, right? A jazz musician.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, before we go, too, everybody needs to know too. We've got two other things in common. Number one,
you don't get out of bed.
We both get gout on a regular.
The Gout Brothers.
And we've talked about starting an all.
I mean, and it is no toys for tots. You guys get full blown.
We have
stapling gout.
Yeah, if you want to talk understanding empathy, that's Jim and I, because we know
stapling, like
know
you
pain like that no one else knows.
Oh
and,
man!
And we've been like, I know there's stories where Jim has told me where when it's at its worst, it's kind of can be like you need to take a break. Like you can't do daily activity. And I remember you telling me that story where you had it. I don't know if it was in your knee, probably in your knee. And not only did you have it in your knee, but then you put your back out.
Oh man, I was in a wheelchair at the airport.
In a wheelchair.
And you were saying to me, I've never felt like such an old man in my life, doing this. But then
But here's the thing: Swan was wheeling him to the airport.
But here's the funny part of the story is they let Jim and the whole band on the plane early because he was legitimately gimped, right? So now they go, Jim, just pretend you have gout so we can get first choice on the plane. Like a typical musician, like, let's just see what angle we can do to make this work for us, right?
And Phil Decker just said something. Look, bring that up.
Yeah.
So, Phil,
I'm
of that, brother.
Cherry juice, brother.
Phil, I drink that all the time, but we got to tell them about when I first told you about it and when you first drank it.
Yeah, it was not good.
You got to tell
them. Are you sure you want me to tell them?
Oh, yeah, no, you got to tell them this.
Oh, man, that's pretty. Are you sure? Is this R-rated? This is pretty nasty.
This is good, guys.
Okay, I'll tell it, but if you're responsible. So I probably had about a bout of gout. No doubt, no gout. We're gonna call the band, right?
That's right.
Or Goutly Crew. Goutly Crew has nothing on us. So Jim's telling me about this. Oh, you gotta drink cherry juice. What did you say? It brings down swelling or whatever, and it cleans your liver or whatever it's supposed to do. I swear with this cherry juice. So if I go to the store, and this cherry juice is like $8 for a bottle like this big. I'm like, Jesus, that's not cheap, And so I buy this cherry juice, and we were playing at the Candlelight Pavilion, which is a good jaunt down the 210 for me, and in traffic. You get a couple hours. So I drinking this cherry juice. Get in the car, and I probably get to maybe the 14, you know, going on to the 5 or the 210, beginning of the 210, let's say.
And you're
probably
heading
right when I got on the 210. So
you were headed to the Candlelight Pavilion.
Well, Cherry Juice Skill Scout, but
listen, yeah.
So he didn't tell me this. It's a laxative. So I'm sitting in the car, and suddenly my stomach goes like, and I'm like, that's interesting. That sounded like John Bonham's triplets.
Look what Gig said. Look what Gig said.
Then I felt like this pressure kind of go from the top kind of down really quickly. And I'm like, whoa, that doesn't feel good, right? So I'm driving, and then it became pretty apparent that I probably I gotta do something, like it's not number one. Yes. And I'm stuck in traffic, and I'm driving, and it's just building pressure. And I'm thinking, if I get off now, it's gonna take forever to get back on. I'm gonna be late, so I'm just biting down. I get past the 57, and there's that part where you're almost there, and then it gets all hit with traffic again. And I'm like, I'm already thinking to myself, okay,
I'm gonna shit my pants.
I have to embrace the fact that I may do myself a horrible mischief.
Gary said
I'm already
the Desert Highway was dark that night, my friends.
I'm thinking, okay, I have my stage clothes, so I know I can have a change of clothes.
Yes,
I have my shower stuff there because we're playing more than one night. I can shower up. I can get through this, but I don't want to make a mess of my car, you know. So I'm already preparing myself for this. That's how bad it got with this damn cherry juice. So then I miraculously made it to the parking lot. Now, I don't know if you guys ever had to pee real bad when you're driving a car, but it's like when you get close to your destination, it's psychologically. There's something about that you're like, oh, I'm going to have relief. So suddenly it really hits. It's like they say most accidents happen when you're close to home because you stop paying attention. You know what I mean? Like traffic accidents. Well, this would have been far worse than a traffic accident.
Here we go. I knew it would end in this. I knew we would talk about this.
He made me do it. So then I get to the parking lot, and then I realize I don't know if I can stand up. This is the moment where I don't know. This is like, I won't be in the car at least, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to get up, stand up, fight for your poop.
Oh man. I remember.
So I have to will myself for this, right? Mentally prepare. It's like you're going up a big hill on your mountain bike. You're gonna do this, right? You build yourself up. So I stand up, and of course, then the pressure goes down a little further. And like, ooh, it's right at the back door now, man. So I have to walk to that door, right? And so I'm just walking, and as I'm walking, you're in your mind thinking, oh, am I going to have some relief? And it's just so, it's like my every hair in my arm is standing in full end. Now my other fear was when I go in, there's going to be someone in the washroom, and then that would be all bets are off if that happened, right? Walk in there. No one's there. I go into the bathroom, and I'm telling you, if you ever seen the movie Dumb and Dumber, where he has that laxative, you know what I mean? And he sits on the toilet, and then she goes, after he's like sitting there for about 3 minutes with his feet up in the air, she goes, "Oh, by the way, don't use the toilet because it's broken."
So, people, this is just a little glimpse of our time together, and this is what it's like. It starts and it always ends up like this.
Yeah,
we start talking about body functions,
right?
Yeah, and what we're doing.
No,
what you're doing.
Okay.
We're instead of composing, we're decomposing. I don't know what you call this. Yeah.
Now the good news is, though, guys, he did make it, and
oh, thank God.
The toilet.
You know, I've been there. I've been there a couple times in my lifetime, and it is a treacherous drive.
Yes.
And you know how it is when you have so much traffic, like it's unbelievable. But that's the thing. So the cherry juice. Who mentioned the cherry juice again?
Phil Deckard.
Phil Deckard. So you can, cherry juice works, but you need to plan your day.
Yes, you do. You need to make sure
you can't go in. Like, I didn't know the whole game, you know. So definitely scary stuff.
Yeah. And the last thing is, we both love Round Table Pizza.
Oh,
and your first encounter with Round Table.
Oh, okay, this is crazy. You're okay. So we we're playing in, where the hell were we playing at oh God, it's right down by Reno, but like you don't go up the hill. Can't remember the name of this town, but we were playing there, and we drove, and Donna and I was playing with Donna, and by the time we got there, it's like an 8-hour drive, a pretty long drive. We were both pretty starving, and so I noticed that there was a pizza place on the way to the hotel. So we checked in, and then we jumped back in the car because we were going to go get something to eat. And when we went to this pizza place, it was closed, and it looked like a proper Italian pizza place, like it. And so we were a little disappointed. So I said, well, I think there was like a grocery store when we first drove into town. Let's go there. Maybe so we can just get some cold cuts and make some sandwiches. But when we got there, there was a round table. I had never had round table. And it looked like, like your generic, like Domino's or you know what I mean? So my expectation wasn't as high, and I already was let down that the real Italian place was closed. I thought that's where we're going to get the good saw, right?
Right.
So I go in there and I order the pizza, and we bring it back to the hotel. We had like I can't remember, probably a vegetarian because Donna was with me. So something like, but as you know, it's like the sauce, everything. So I take a couple bites of this pizza, and I'm like, God, this pizza is good, And so I'm taking a few more bites. And I'm like, God, I can't believe how good this pizza is. And you know how it is, like, say if you have a low expectation of something, but then it completely exceeds your expectation.
Oh, man.
And so I'm thinking, you know what? I'm going to call this pizza place and let them know how good their pizza is, because it's like past midnight now, right?
Yeah.
They're working. They probably always only get like people complaining. I'm going to call. I'm going to call and let them know how good their pizza is. So I phone up the place and I said, hey, my name's Chris. I'm just calling. I just ordered pizza there, and they were like, yeah. Like, they're probably already expecting, like, what's wrong, right? Yes. And I said, I just want to let you guys know that this pizza is great. I really enjoy your pizza. Thank you so much for this great pizza. And they go, well, thank you, ma'am. Because I do have a higher voice,
Yes,
So on the phone. But then I always tell the story after that my aunt would call our house, and my brother would always think it was my Uncle Harry. She had a real deep voice. So
thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. I don't know what's worse.
Oh man, that's hilarious, man.
Thank you, man.
Well, thank you, guys. Thank you so much for
thank you for having me.
This is just a little glimpse of what our night is. But we have to plan a Seinfeld game night.
Well, look at this, you guys. I had my notes.
I am so excited.
See,
I can't even tell you.
I pre-warned everyone this was going to be the interview about nothing, and wasn't I right at the beginning? But this is the party game. I'm going to bring this. We're going to bring out that fishing rod, that bread. There's all these questions, a whole bunch of I think we're going to have a good time. And you can go into groups, too. So you can do groups. And,
that's great.
Yeah, here's the back. You can see it's like all these.
We are super competitive. And so Jim always gets so mad at me.
We've got to do it. We've got to do it.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
It's going to be incredible. It's going to be.
Here, just before you guys go, like, Tegan's taking music in college now, so you can see all his music stuff is all over the table, learning about triads and all those fun things. Isn't that fun?
Yeah, I remember talking to Tegan when he came to one of the TLR shows, and your hair was pretty long back then. And I said, hey, do you think you're ever going to want to, grow your hair out long and play the guitar? And he's all, nah.
Yeah, look at him now.
Now look at him.
Now. I got a great. This is a great story to kind of wrap everything up. And it was when I was playing at the time with a Neil Diamond tribute band, right? And we would end up every year at La Cañada. If you play that gazebo thing. Yeah. We would end up in the end of August. That would be our last show of that season for this, because he would do all these concerts in the parks. Like basically the summer would pack up, and then it would be very light for the rest of the year. But Tegan I'd bring to that because it was kind of up the road from us, and he was maybe 5 years old, and so we all go out for pizza afterwards. Wasn't round table, wasn't as good as that, but it was still pizza. So we're all sitting around, all the musicians are around, and they go to him, so Tegan, what do you think of your dad playing guitar? And he goes, my dad is the best guitar player in the whole world. Right?
I don't think that's wrong about that.
No, not wrong.
That's my boy. So I give him a big slice of pizza. So fast forward next year,
Yeah.
same thing. You know, we're eating pizza, and he's like, they asked, well, what do you think your dad? You know, being in a band and playing, he goes, I'm way better than my dad.
Did he say that?
Yeah. Now go 3 years, and he's like maybe 8 years old now, right? And, and so, you know, we're eating pizza at the end of the season. So what do you think your dad playing, you know, Neil Diamond music in the guitar? And he goes, Neil Diamond sucks. So that's the evolution of a boy. You know? That's like in a 3-year span, how it changes, right?
Yeah. Oh man, Swig, thank you so much for joining us tonight, brother.
Let's plan a game night for sure.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. That game's waiting for us, and we'll have to deal with some carpooling stuff. We'll get that going. And by the way, I got 2 new Martin guitars and a whole new pedal board for those 14 shows. I thought I'd make it fun for myself. So I think I got this new guitar. I think you're gonna dig it. So be fun.
Great, man. Can't wait to hear it.
All right, guys.
Well, have a great night.
We
Say
love
hello
you.
to Donna for us.
We love you, Mr. Switch.
Brenda, what time is it? Love you guys too. What time is it? It's Shard 30.
It's Sharp 33.
Oh, is it? Yeah,
we're actually heading over to the hat to grab a couple of pastrami's there, Swig.
All right, there you go. Yeah, I'm cooling the fridge.
All right, man.
Okay,
Have
cheers,
a great
guys.
night.
Thank
Say
you so much.
Say hello to Donna for us, and we'll see you in the next couple of weeks at game night.
Yep. Cheers, buddy.
All right, have a great night.
You too.
That was awesome.
Oh man, that was so much fun. That was so much fun.
So you ready for some pastrami?
I feel like I'm ready for the hat. Are we gonna do the hat?
I think we are.
Yep.
Thank you so much for joining us, guys. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed that interview with
it
Switch.
was super fun.
I'll probably see you this Sunday afternoon with Deja Vu at the Coffee Gallery backstage. 2 p.m. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yep.
So God bless you. Keep on rocking in the free world, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.